Welcome to the Mizzle Dub Show. Welcome to the Mizzle Dub Show. 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 Dub Show. Welcome to the Mizzle Dub Show.
To the late night edition of the Mizzle and Dub Show. He is Mizzle. I am Dub, and we are coming to you early Monday morning at 12:35 a.m. And we will cover all games that took place. Salud. We'll cover all the games that took place in the association with the playoffs as game ones have transpired. But before we do that, we first want to go back to Saturday and to celebrate the 76th anniversary of one Jackie Roosevelt Robinson, who, of course, forever changed the game of sports. Of course, as you know, since 1997, the number 42 has been retired by every single major league team. Mariano Rivera was the last to have the blessing to wear 42 until he retired. And since then, the number will never ever be worn in Major League Baseball again. So for one day, everybody gets to be 42 to pay homage to. Not only was he a fantastic player, but oftentimes I use this cliche like a broken record, but Jackie Robinson was a better man than a baseball player. And I don't need to go into details about what he did and what he stood for and what he lived for. But if anybody, and I will put Roberto Clemente in this same category because I think 21 should be retired also. For all the humanitarian stuff that he did, that his wife did until she passed away, and what his sons continue to do in honoring his legacy. What Mrs. Robinson does almost at 100 years old, God bless her, what she's done, and what her daughter and his daughter that's still living, what they do to keep the legacy alive. It's just tremendous honor that Major League Baseball does. And of course, I know Jackie's goal was to see more blacks involved in the game of baseball, because I know for a long time for black people what baseball was their way out, kind of like the same way boxing is what football is today, what basketball is today. But I know Jackie wanted to see more get involved in baseball, and that's why Curtis Granderson does what he does
to
try and get more involved. Grandy man, yes sir, he does tremendous work with the RBA program. So we just wanted to take a few minutes to give Jackie Roosevelt Robinson his flowers. And of course, as I always do every year, I just simply say thank you, because without what he went through, and not only what he went through for black people, but to open the door for Latinos and Afro Latinos, and other foreign peoples. Like, we wouldn't get Shohei Ohtani, we wouldn't get Seiya Suzuki, we wouldn't have gotten Ichiro Suzuki. So I mean, a lot of it pays homage to one Jackie. Yeah, so we pay a lot of homage to one Jackie Roosevelt Robinson. So we say thank you, sir. And of course, to his fantastic widow, Miss Rachel Robertson, who continues to fight the good fight in Jack's name. So with that said, it got started for real on Saturday, in the association with the playoffs. And it started with the team that plays in Philadelphia. They got it going. And all I can say is
dominant performance.
I mean,
by everybody. Indeed. It just wasn't Embiid dominating. I mean, everybody contribute. Maxey, Harden had an actual good playoff game. Tobias Harris put in work. I mean, Melton put in work. Reed put in work. I mean, the bench was putting in work. It was I expect this. I just hope they take this to the next series, because it's going to either be Boston or it's going to be Milwaukee. And you know how I feel every time we match up with Boston. I cringe. I cry, because I know what Boston will do to us. Just how they've been doing us for the past years. I feel real comfortable with every team that goes into the playoffs until they play Boston. So I need somebody to beat the hell out of Boston in Milwaukee.
But at least for one night, it was raining. It was raining threes in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philly, who's not known as a three-point shooting team, but they made 21 of those buckets from beyond the arc, and thus Sir Elton John bust out with some Philadelphia freedom as the Sixers took care of business as they beat the Nets by a final score of 121 to 101, a 20-point thrashing. But Embiid showing why he is an MVP candidate, which it finally might go to him this year. You never know. But nonetheless, Embiid led the way, as he always does. He had 26, shooting 7 of 15 from the floor. Harris had 21, Harden had 23, Maxey had 13 off the bench. Reed added 11, but it was Harden that got it going, 7 of 13 from beyond the arc. And Tobias Harris was a perfect 3 for 3 behind the arc.
And that's rare.
So they will take it, that he will take it into game 2, which kicks it off again later on today. Speaking of the Boston Celtics, they led wire to wire over the Hawks, which is not shocking because the Hawks just came off a grueling playing game. But Boston was efficient. They were precise.
And are we shocked what Jaylen Brown does? Are we really shocked that what Jaylen Brown does?
No.
See the man do this at Cal. I know we said this.
He was at Cal Berkeley. He was at Cal Berkeley, and Mizzle and I saw him go off against a very good ranked Oregon Ducks team at legendary Haas Pavilion in Berkeley, California. So we saw the tools right then and there. But it was Brown that led the way for Boston. He had 29. White had 24. Smart had 11. Horford had 6. Tatum had 25. And Williams off the bench added 12 as Boston shot 47% from the floor. Atlanta shoots 38. Even though the starting 5 for the Hawks were all in double figures, it was just Boston showing its dominance. And as we had talked about, I wouldn't say it's a playoff rivalry, but the Hawks and the Celtics have met plenty of times in the playoffs. Of course, some of that goes back to the Hawks' years in St. Louis because they were in St. Louis before they came to Atlanta.
That's some knowledge for some people that didn't know that. Bless them.
And also, what people didn't know that Pistol Pete Maravich was originally a Hawk before he became a New Orleans Jazz.
Tell him.
Look that up. And also, before he wore 7, he wore 44. So just.
Indeed.
Just a little knowledge for that. But Boston gets the win, as you would expect him to. They get a huge win to get off.
It might get a gentleman to their series. It might be a gentleman, so it might go 4-1.
Atlanta might get one, but perhaps the later games on Saturday proved out to be the best games of the slate on Saturday. The New York Knickerbockers steal home court.
What a game that was!
Cavaliers. A fantastic game.
Julius Randle got their first. But again, are we shocked at what Julius Randle does on the basketball court? I know Laker fans are pissed that they're not having that in their arena right now.
Well, we know how our good friend Mr. Brian Sullivan feels every time we talk about Julius Randle. You really want to get me started? I'm like, yes, I do actually, because I know how you feel.
Yes.
Which we always ask the question as much as we can't stand the damn Lakers. But if they would have kept all that young talent that they drafted and found the right coach to put together, as much as we couldn't stand them, they would be a force in the Western Conference. I'm just telling you, if Lonzo could stay healthy, you brought back D'Angelo Russell, but you keep those two. You keep Josh. You keep Brandon Ingram. And Mizzle has been the biggest Brandon Ingram supporter forever.
And he went to Duke.
Yeah, that's rare. That is very, very rare. But if you keep him, you keep Julius Randle, you keep Larry Nance Jr., you keep Kyle Kuzma, you keep Jordan Clarkson. If you would have kept that core together and found the right coach,
because that man's a baller.
Yes, if you would have kept that core,
Scott would have been
and people. And people that watch the show know that Mizzle and I can't stand anything that involves the purple and gold.
Anything LA.
Yes, for that matter. Yes, we respect the captain. Yes, we respect Irvin. Yes, we respect James Worthy, Byron Scott, Shaquille O'Neal, and of course, the mama that is Kobe Bean Bryant. And of course, one of the greatest play-by-play men to ever do basketball, the old Golden Throat himself, Francis Del Chicurn. We respect them all. Can't stand them, but we respect it.
Yes.
But
hell, we
keep that core together.
out there.
And could take a clothesline. Ask Kevin McHale.
Damn sure take a clothesline. YouTube it.
And the Lariat Hansen would have been proud of that clothesline of Kurt Rambis in the 84 finals by Kevin McHale. But with that said, Julius Randle, despite his struggles coming off the injury, still had 19. But Jalen Brunson really is the straw that stirs the drink for the New York Knickerbockers. He had 27 lead the way.
Bad first half, though. That's the thing. He in the second half, and they had no answer for that young man. Dallas is kicking himself in all the butt cheeks right now for letting that man just walk.
Oh yeah, Mark Cuban is slapping himself like, why did I let him leave?
Well, ask Luka Doncic how he feels.
Oh, ask Sacramento. Well, maybe not so now, but Sacramento was kicking themselves in the foot and wanted to slap Vlade for Vlade not drafting Luka Doncic.
Well, you know,
I'm just saying, if you
Vlade was doing what he does best, man. He was flopping.
Yeah, at his own academy of flopping, yes, he was.
Yes,
but
you know,
Brunson led the way with 27. And I mean, Josh Hart off the bench. Josh Hart is one of those guys that could play on my team any day of the week because all he does is just play hard. Had 17 big points off the bench, but the Spider, Donovan Mitchell, did everything humanly possible to keep Cleveland in the game. He had 38 of those buckets.
I can't wait to watch First Take in the morning. Because you
know what he's gonna say.
You know how
should have been a Nick. Should have been a Nick.
But see, the only thing that he doesn't want, he doesn't want Donovan Mitchell to win this series and goes off because could have been a Nick.
Donovan Mitchell's gonna get his. You just can't stop that.
That's almost like trying to tell the Warriors, hey, stop the Aaron Fox. No, you're not gonna do it. Don't let Malik Monk. I'm foreshadowing. I'm sorry. Foreshadowing. My bad. Didn't mean to do that.
But the thing with Cleveland is, like I said, the Spider is going to get his. But
yes,
you can't let Osman, and you can't let Garland, and you can't let Allen and Mobley and Okoro. You can't let those guys go because if they all get off respectively, in addition to the Spider,
long night.
It's going to be a problem. But on the Knicks side of the ball, RJ Barrett struggled, and the Knicks still won. If RJ Barrett gets going,
he's struggling a while though.
Yeah, he has.
This is not that to do right now.
But if he gets going, that's going to be a problem for Cleveland.
Oh well, you get Brunson.
If Emmanuel quickly gets going,
oh boy,
that's going to be a problem. Okay. Now, if Obi Toppin continues to give you contribute in his minutes because he was solid in his 14 minutes of play, had 9 points. If he keeps contributing, it's going to be. I said that the Knicks probably might be the upset of the first round, beating Cleveland, even though a 5 beating a 4 is not really considered an upset, but considering where the Knicks were and where they are now, it could be an upset. But the Knicks still game 1. I did say Knicks in 7, and I'm still going to stick to that prediction because I did say I think it's still going to be the best series in the first round.
When Dugan was on, yeah.
So I got that. Then there was the atmosphere that was Sacramento, California, and you can see why they were foaming at the mouth. Go ahead.
Before we continue, I want to say one thing about listen to the words that came out of my mouth when I'm saying this. Certain Kings fans, y'all need to pump your motherfucking brakes. You just won 1 game. You didn't win the finals. But let me also tell you another thing before me and my brother dial into this game and we give our 2 cents. 1, Andrew Wiggins will not miss a wide open 3 like that ever again. I mean, he may, but in a pressure situation like that, he won't miss it again. 2, your biggest fault was You let that man Steph Curry get wide open to try to take that game into overtime, and he was this close to sinking it. As my brother said, if he was able to step into that shot, curtains. He was hitting. Well, did he go 5 for 5 at the half court line, just stroking it like it was a regular 3-pointer? Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me just say this. Great fucking game. But pump your brakes. You didn't win nothing yet. You won a game. You lit the beam.
Not just that. If you heard what Draymond Green said, they said they have the formula. They weren't even hanging their heads after the loss because
they knew they let it, bro. They were up 10 at one time.
Yes,
they let the game slip. They knew that. But see, this is one thing that me and you've been knowing about the Warriors since this team been put together. We know
they struggle. They lose game one. That's what they do.
But also, we know the regular season of them ain't nothing. All they got to do is get into the playoffs. That's all they care about. They'll coast until they need to get what they need to do. As you just saw, they avoided the play-in tournament. They got the 6th seed, as we see. History shows Warriors lose game 1. They come back, win game 2. And oh, by the way, Klay Thompson becomes big play Klay when game 3 comes around. If you don't know it, check the history.
Game 3, and not only that, you don't want to see game 6 Klay.
And you don't
game 6 Klay. Game 6 Klay normally is a bad thing for any opponent that sees the Warriors in a 6-game series. But like I said, I mean, Wiggins, for a guy that missed months of basketball, played 28 minutes, shot 7 of 16 from the field, struggle with the 3 ball. That's to be expected.
Bro, it won't happen again. I promise you, Kings fan. Wiggins, but the defense was there.
Yes, it was.
The defense was there. So he already got his sea legs back. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be shocked if he's starting tonight. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Wiggins is in the starting lineup. But I do like him coming off the bench, though.
Like I said, Dante DiVincenzo has filled in admirably since Wiggs, went off to go on this hiatus. So I can understand why Steve Kerr kept him in the starting lineup. You don't want to mess with the rhythm. You don't want to mess with the synergy, and he does hit some big buckets. But also, credit must be given where credit is due. De'Aaron Fox had himself a tremendous debut in the playoffs.
But wait,
with 38 of them things.
It's not shocking. And the only thing they're gonna have to do is not let here we go, Kings fan. Here's some credit. Sabonis won't have another game like that throughout these playoffs.
No. He will not. He will not shoot 5 for 17 again. No, he will not.
No. Sabonis will not have a game to where he's not being very productive in the game. And
he's still and he had a quiet double.
It was quiet, but it could have been more louder if he was more efficient as doing. What I said to you earlier, yesterday while we were watching the game, or the other day while I was watching the game, if De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk have Kentucky flashbacks,
that's going to be a problem.
Them little SOBs scared me when my Tar Heels played them in the tournament. It was the Sweet 16, I believe the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, where we had to play Kentucky that one year. And they couldn't miss. And it looked like that against our beloved Golden State Warriors. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried. We didn't see this story 6 times. Excuse me. We didn't see 6 times. We didn't see this story. Yet, out of the 4 that they won, they were underdogs. Counted them out. So continue to count out this. Wait, hold on.
He's wearing the gold-blooded shirt. Yeah, yes, he is.
And I'm walking into work tomorrow wearing the gold-blooded final shirt. Thank you, Aja. So it's
again, as Ric Flair said so many times, to be the man, you have to beat the man.
No, they got one game, and they thought they beat.
It's one game. The series is not over. You can expect the champs to play. For most of that game, the champs played like the champs.
Right, we're up 10. That's what
For the most part, they did.
They had a chance to take game one, but we know the history of this team. Like we said, they don't. Can you? When have they ever won a game one?
It's very rare, but they have, yes.
Okay, well, but yeah, it's now. I'll say this. I'll foreshadow. Now, if the Kings come out and just tap that ass, ugh, the next
If
show we might
Sacramento
be talking a little different.
if Sacramento goes up 2-0, then there is a little bit of concern for Dub Nation, no pun intended. There's a concern, but
then again, not really, because OKC was up 3-1.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. But as we have always said, even before we started doing this show, which is coming up on our 3-year anniversary, hard to believe.
Wow.
But anniversary and now show number 72 coming up, or 73, I think. But nonetheless, even before we started the show, the moniker for us was always saying, in Kerr and Myers we trust.
Oh, for sure.
Because they know what they know what they're doing. But again, I get it. The Kings waited since April 30th, 2006, the last time they won a playoff game. And the atmosphere was fantastic, as you thought it would be.
Beautiful.
It sounded like you knew it was going to sound like Arco Arena, cowbells and everything. You knew it was going to be that way. So you would expect nothing less. But normally, after a loss like that, that guy named Wardell goes into Human Torch mode. So if he flames on in game 2, you've been warned. Now, here's what happened yesterday on the 16th, which, again, as much as we don't like to give this team credit, we're going to give this team credit. The Lakers, the Memphis, stole home court, but Chimura was him and Austin Reeves were the reason why
what got
the Lakers game. Those two gentlemen right there are reasons why this team has won this game. Ever since they made the trade for Hachimura and putting the other team together, they've played a lot better. As much as we don't want to give them credit.
Hachimura is a damn good basketball player. I think he just needed a change of scenery. And, and isn't that something that word is used in sports a lot? Change of scenery.
Correct.
And, hell, look at Westbrook. He's still home, and he's out there in the Clippers playing good basketball. Hell,
with no Paul George.
So, but just to get back to Hachimura, hey, what a tremendous game that he had. I mean, I didn't see none of the game, but I didn't see a lot of basketball today. It was all in my ear. But from listening to the announcers and everything, and when I was listening on Sirius Satellite, I get the home team broadcasting, and those announcers just kept saying, Hachimura, he hits another one. You heard the pressing,
So you saw the air go out of the balloon.
Well, I didn't see the air. I heard the air go out of the balloon.
It
took everything. They didn't want to give the Lakers no credit for what they were doing, but it seems like that.
But you have to, because I mean, Hachimura in 30 minutes shot 11 of 14 from the floor. I'm going to say that again. 11 of 13 field goal shooting. 5 of 6 from 3-point land.
He won't do that again. I mean, he'll have a good game, a good series, but I don't think he'll put up those type of efficiency in the rest.
Austin Reeves, 8 of 13 shooting.
Not shocked.
3 of 5 from 3.
Not shocked. That man,
Anthony Davis, before he almost tore himself again, and the Charmin meme comes out.
I can't move.
It was 10 of 17 shooting, 12 rebounds, 22 points. They had 5 in double figures, but really did not get much anywhere else, which that could be a problem because, like you said, if Hachimura is not consistent like that, you don't expect him to shoot like that. If he does, that's a problem. Yeah. Reeves, I expect him to shoot like that.
Yeah, I expect him to get his. You're not going to stop that kick him.
But the problem for Memphis lies in the fact that John Morant got hurt.
Yes.
Before he got hurt, he had 18 points. He had 18 points, but you are already without Steven Adams.
Big loss.
That's a huge loss. Big loss. Now you possibly might not have Ja for game 2, even though X-rays
We're negative.
came back negative.
Yes.
There is no certain chance that Ja might play
Indeed.
in game 2. If that is the case, and the Lakers still game 2, that is going to be a problem.
Oh, it's over.
Memphis.
It's over when they come back to LA. It's over. That I don't think they'll be able to withstand the fans. You know, the players gonna feed off the crowd. But bold prediction here. And sorry, Laker. I will never call you with that other word. Laker fans. I don't see Anthony Davis making it in this whole you guys' run. I see it. He already just damn near lost his arm. So that means he went to the locker room and took the needle shot. We all know that. So he came back and
took some cortisone.
Oh, yes. But I don't see him. And mad at me all you want to, Laker fans. I just don't see him staying healthy.
Well, as they say, he's one glass away from tearing himself, and of course,
He just almost just did it. I'm just saying. I wonder if every time that he jumps, do Laker fans hold their breath when they watch the game?
they probably well. If they don't, they're lying. If they say no, they're lying.
You know, because it was at one point where when Derek Carr was the he was the quarterback. Every time he dropped back, I did hold my breath. So you know what I'm gonna be doing this season? I mean, I know we're skipping ahead. We'll get back to basketball. Every time Jimmy Garoppolo drops back, I'll be holding my breath.
Well, yeah, I did the same thing when he was in Santa Clara, because you're just like
people might want to check up on me after games, because it's gonna be, and I can hold my. Anyway,
from doing the George C to the Orange Cassidy, I get it. Anyhow, seemingly today on Sunday, it seemingly turned into road team dominance, because 3 of the 4 games were won by the road team.
It did flip.
Now we said this even on the previous show with Steve. We kept saying there's a team that could upset the Bucks. It is this Miami Heat team.
And don't get me wrong, I think they would have won the game even if Giannis was on the floor. Jimmy, like I said, this is on a mission. Jimmy's on a mission.
Like I said, this same Miami Heat team did beat the Bucks in the bubble in Orlando in 2020 en route to their NBA Finals appearance.
And so, if Jimmy had help, they would have been the bubble champs. That man was just exhausted. You talk about putting the team on your back and giving it all. If Jimmy walked on there and said, I gave him my all, I'm looking at him like, bro, yes, you did.
Unfortunately for Giannis, this is a back injury, and you just can't rush a back, because backs
too big for that.
Sometimes just make up their own minds.
Too tall for that. I mean, not just saying his height wise alone, but anything that you do with basketball, your back is very important. I mean, your back is important in life, but I'm just saying for a basketball player, that's, So,
but also,
just the six. I know the Sixer in me will say, "Hey, don't rush Giannis back." But me being, knowing how certain injuries take in basketball, I wouldn't rush him back. I mean, they almost hung around until the Jimmy and everybody else decided to be like, you know what? Yeah, we know Giannis ain't there. We about to just kill this game. So,
well, there were 6 Miami Heat in double figures. Of course, Jimmy Butler led the way with 35. Bam had 22, and I've been saying I need more Bam, and Bam delivered in game 1 here tonight. Vincent at 15. Tyler Hero, before he got hurt and is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken hand.
He's done.
He had 12. Martin had 15, and Kevin Love in 23 minutes gave Miami 18 points,
And what
shooting
I
5
was
of 9
hearing in my
from the
ears, he was killing it with the jump shot.
Yeah,
the
he was
3-point
four.
shot.
He was 4-7 from beyond the arc, had 18 points with 8 rebounds and 1 assist. But I mean, Jimmy Butler doing what he does best, shooting 15 and 27, 35 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists. So not only was he shooting the J, shoot it, he was passing the rock along and getting his teammates involved. And the Heat put up a buck 30 in Milwaukee, 130 to 117. And I will say this: if Giannis can't go in game 2, and Miami steals game 2, and they come back
All
to
Miami
Miami up
needs is
two
one at
games to
home.
none,
All Miami needs
yeah,
one win at home.
yeah. The Clippers and the Suns meet for the first time since the conference finals in 2021, which the Suns swept the Clippers en route to the NBA Finals before losing to Milwaukee. But the Clippers steal one away from the Suns, 115 to 110. And I guess it was a big factor. He didn't do much scoring wise, but he was playing the defensive end, which certainly helped. Eric Gordon had 19, but Kawhi Leonard decided to have a San Diego State / Spurs flashback
He
with
decided
38 points.
to be his name, the Claw.
He wanted to be the Claw, 38 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists.
I didn't know
Man
he
had 10 points. Powell had 14. And like I said, the Clippers just steal one away from the Suns. I mean, it's not like the Suns didn't have contributing. I mean, Durant had 27. Craig had 22. DeAndre had 18. Booker had 26. But again, in 39 minutes, Chris Paul only 7 points.
Ooh.
If Chris Paul is supposed to be the
what?
man,
You know what?
go ahead.
Watching I can't remember what show I was watching, but it was on ESPN. It was I don't know if it was First Take or the NBA, but they were gonna say, oh yeah, it was NBA shoot around with it was Stephen A. Smith, Jalen Rose, and our guy, Mr. Wilbon. Yes, thank you. This is the reason why we do the show because of him. But
Mr. Kornizer.
When they asked about this series, they asked who is the most important, like who's important, and they all
X Factor.
Paul. They all said Chris Paul, and they were like, if Chris Paul doesn't have it's like it's done. It's like he needs to just this is his chance. This is his opportunity, and for you to just say those stats that he had, now I really can't wait to watch some stuff on ESPN tomorrow. So yeah.
Well, like I've been saying about Anthony Davis is one injury away from tearing his early parts. And I have all the respect in the world for Chris Paul. He's been a tremendous floor general, and he will be a Hall of Famer. No question about that in my mind.
He's a point guard.
But at the same time, he's one hamstring injury away from the Suns not being able to advance. That's what happened last year.
That's so facts.
That's what happened last year. And again, like I said, I got all the respect for Chris Paul. Chris Paul's a top 10 point guard of all time in the association. But again, as we always say, your best ability is availability, and sometimes he just hasn't been available. Maybe in the regular season, but not so much in the playoffs. And you're going to need that because, like I said, Clippers are trying to make a point without Paul George. And like I said, they're getting contributors everywhere else. Pretty sure that if Mr. Man gets involved again, that's going to be a problem because he always gives you solid minutes off the bench and also Powell off the bench. But it's the Suns losing at home, 115 to 110. It seemed like the referees were involved a little bit too much with Minnesota and the Nuggets.
Now, I'm glad that
a lot of chippiness, a lot of chippiness, if you will.
Now, remember when I said I was on Sirius XM, so when I listened to the NBA,
correct,
to the home team's broadcast, they were naming the one referee. He must have been fucking up badly. I mean, it's sort of got to the point to where something that like the fight happened, and they were like, don't give them the double tech just to let it go. The dude was throwing elbows. I mean, they were trying to get the referee's information, bro. They already said that he won't be. This staff won't be making it to the second round.
Well, I don't see it happening
And
because
that's when I hit you with the text. Like, just listen to this game. It seems like the refs is. Did you were you watching the game?
no, I didn't like you. I didn't get to see any of the games today. I maybe saw like a glimpse of the Clippers and Lakers, but I was doing the fun job at Bonanza High,
Okay,
doing the A7FL. So
nice.
from time to time, I got to check in periodically. Same thing with the USFL. I got to check in periodically. But it's just Denver are who they are. All 5 stars were in double figures.
And
Brown
Jamal
off the
Murray just
bench
went
had four.
ape shit. In
Oh, yeah, he shot 9 and 22 from the floor, had 24 points. Actually, was the Nuggets' leading scorer in the game, as the Joker had a quiet 13 points, 14 rebounds, and that's very rare to say, but it happened. Um, Junior had 18, Aaron Gordon had 18, and Continuous Caldwell Pope had 15. So, I mean, I think the Nets will play better, but trying to beat the Nuggets twice in altitude is a very hard task to try and do. It really is.
100.
But we talk about tonight's games. Mizzle's wearing double duty because it's a Sixer Warrior night on this Monday edition of the playoffs. Of course, both games,
I smell 2 and
both
0.
both games you can catch on TNT.
Yes.
I expect the Warriors to bounce back and win the game solidly. If Philadelphia plays like Philadelphia, they will be down 2-0. Like I said, I think Philadelphia needs to establish the big man, go inside out. If he gets double teamed, you kick it to the open man. Hopefully, the open man will hit the shot, because that's what drawing the double team is supposed to do. It's supposed to feed your teammates open,
Yes.
and we'll see. Just have to play their game, not give up their leads, and just pretty much finish, because the series is far from over involving the Warriors and the Kings, in my opinion.
Well, you already you are. Well, number one, I expect Embiid to have another dominant performance. I just expect. I just need Tobias Harris to continue to contribute like he's been doing. Don't disappear. Harden, everything doesn't weigh on you. Just continue to play how you've been playing. But I need you to finish a little bit stronger with your layups, because a few of his layups they tossed his shit. And it was like, I need you to go in a little bit stronger. But you don't have to worry about it being on your shoulders. If anything fails, fine 2-1. You know, I don't have no worry about Maxey. Maxey's going to play Maxey basketball, 100 miles an hour. I just need the bench to be productive like they were in this game. And I 4-1, 4-1. I see Brooklyn getting one at least at either maybe they might get game 2 or they might get the first game back at home, because you know how that goes when you travel back and it's that the third. Now to jump back on this Kings and Warriors series. As a fan, am I a little nervous? Just a tad, because I know what De'Aaron Fox can do.
It's capable of.
Yeah, I know what he can do. And Sabonis not having a good game in game 1, that kind of now, but if Malik Monk replicate what he did game 1, yeah, the Warriors in trouble.
That's the problem.
That's gonna be
not just that. If Keegan Murray gets going from beyond the arc, that's going to be a problem, because he shoots the three ball very, very well.
Pretty damn well. But then again, I got all the faith that Steph Curry gonna come out there, because he left it. He had that chance at the end of the game, and y'all left him. They left him open. And honestly, Clay didn't even have a bad game either. You know, and you know who is starting to really, really catch my eye, even though he caught my eye, but I'm like really starting to pay more attention to him.
Who's that?
Kuminga.
Yes.
I don't think Kuminga is big.
He has played some solid minutes in his absence, and that's only going to help him and benefit him better as he gets older and perhaps gets more part of the rotation, if you will. So
now, if he can
I agree
find a way to get
1,000%.
that just to work, I don't need him to be Steph Curry, Klay Thompson 3-point shooting, but if he can just knock down two a game, bro, I think I mean, he's getting to the basket and he goes to the basket with authority. He's not going there just to put it up there softly. He's going up there to try to finish. So yeah, that's awesome there.
It's a definite fact. Well, very quickly, we'll touch on some XFL scores. The Houston Roughnecks beat the Vipers 28-21. The Brahmas get their third win. They beat the Guardians 25-23. The Defenders beat the Renegades, the Battle of Texas, and the DC Defenders are North Division champions. Houston holding on to a 1-point lead or a game and a half lead over the Arlington Renegades. Of course, the top two teams from each division make the playoffs and go from there. But also, we saw the return of the USFL.
Oh, see now, you saw a little bit of that. I didn't get none of it. I'm a little disappointed in myself that I didn't get it. But there was so much things going on that day. I just forgot to squeeze that in.
Well, from what I saw, the Birmingham Stallions showed you why they won the USFL last year with their just tremendous, fantastic play. So
okay,
that goes without saying.
Yes.
Other scores. So the USFL kicked off its second season, and
love it.
The scores went like this. Houston loses to Michigan. Michigan was in one of those title games, but they beat Houston 29-13. New Orleans beat the Pittsburgh Maulers 22-15 in week 2. Houston against New Orleans, Memphis against Birmingham, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Michigan to round out week number 2. So spring football is here. Spring hope eternal. And like I said, we hopefully will keep it in good shape when it gets that cold yet again. So, a funny situation that Mizzle and I want to talk about to bring to you the fans. And just to go to show you again how much that the Oakland Coliseum is pretty much a dump. With all the kindness that has come through there, but you really cannot make this up. But the guest broadcast team had to get out because, of all things, there was a doggone possum on the yard. Of course, possums are very unique looking creatures. Not a fan of them because they used to climb on my grandfather's fence in the backyard all the time. Not to mention my grandmother scared one off not too long ago. So
I ran up on one when I was living in Davis. Them things can get hostile.
Yeah, they can.
So yeah.
A possum decided to visit the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum and be in his booth, which forced the Mets radio broadcast team to not even be there. With that situation, they went to the left, as the possum gets the win, as the possums sweep the Mets in Oakland. Yes, we are indeed getting close to the draft. A lot of these mock drafts, a lot of these pro days have transpired and taken place. Makes you wonder what draft day trades are going to go down because somewhere down the line it's going to happen.
I see my Raiders going number 3.
Oh, you see them coming up.
If business is right, yeah, I can see that happening. If I'll just say this, it depends on the who goes number 1. Whoever goes number one, either that might alter some stuff. Because what I'm hearing, if it's not Bryce, who the Raiders want, it's either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. So
now some are saying that Bryce Young might be number one overall to the Panthers. So we shall see.
yes.
Yeah, Buda Baker wants a trade from the Cardinals.
He
Whoever
wants
can
to
use him
win,
will utilize his speed, and that was going to be my next thing. You're still under contract, honor that.
Yeah.
But what do I know? But as always, we like to say thank you for tuning in. Show, of course, the YouTube page is still there. The Mizzle and Dub Show is on our YouTube page. We also have an Instagram page, which is the Mizzle and Dub Show, which is a whole lot of underscores. So if you're trying to find us on Instagram, please write.
Did you have to add the underscores for that?
Yes, I did. I just couldn't put Mizzle and Dub Show. I had to add those underscores in order for me to keep that name. So yes, I did.
YouTube,
not
Instagram. Thank you.
But to our 33 followers, because we do not count ourselves as followers, but to the 33 followers that are on Instagram, we thank you. If you see us in our little live feed rants or what's coming on the show, absolutely feel free to hop in and get a glass of wine and talk about sports. But we thank you for subscribing. We thank you to our subscribers on YouTube. Thank you to our followers on Instagram. And like I said, IG Live will be a platform for us to preview the show, talk about some stuff, and just random times, just shoot and just laugh and make fun of each other, because that's just what we do.
Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. There might be, if I can find a way to maybe log in and put it on here, the fight Saturday that's coming up.
Yes, Tank and Ryan Garcia, like we said the last show.
You might get an IG live stream of the Mizzle and Dub show there.
We'll piggyback off that. If you are excited about this boxing match, we may do a boxing show, as Mizzle just mentioned, the night of the fight, which if you have not watched All Access on Showtime, the trash talking between these two, it is very much so.
And Mike Tyson is
real to its core.
Hell out of it too. Whoa, Mike Tyson! I love Mike Tyson for that, because he want to see this fight too. Because if after this, if Errol Spence Jr. and Bud Crawford don't get that shit together, this is going to be Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao Part 2. I promise you. They're going to sign this fight up when we don't care not about it, but yet we're still going to watch it because we're boxing fans and we want it, but we don't give two shits about it. Right now it's hot because the both of you guys are hot and it needs to happen.
And you're in your prime.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
That's all we want. We want to see both of you guys fight each other in your prime. Now, if you give us that, we will be grateful, appreciative boxing fans. That's all we want.
You might get me to come to the destination where the fight is at. This is how bad I want to see this fight. I might have to talk and do overtime probably to get the ticket price. But I want to see that fight live.
Any fight fan would want to see that live, but
Straight
we'll
up.
talk about that. Obviously, we will continue of our playoff analysis after the games have been played. But again, we thank you for watching. Of course, if you have any comments or concerns, or you want us to talk about a certain subject, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments on our Facebook page. And of course, for those that follow us on Instagram, we greatly appreciate you. And again, we say thank you very much. So with that said, he's Mizzle, and he's gold-blooded.
And the Sixer gear is somewhere around, but it's still Sixers to it too. And
with his Philadelphia freedom, but he is putting out the gold-blooded shirt. But for Mizzle, I am Dub, and we say thank you for watching this late night edition of the Mizzle Dub Show. And as always, it's 5 o'clock some damn where. the next show.